So faculty and staff too, this is all going to be really helpful. Like I mentioned, this is going to be a lot of kind of show and tell and leave behind of great resources that can help students get ready, get career ready, get ready to learn a little bit about how they can create some content and some assets to set themselves apart, build skills, but also create some really great resume and portfolio assets. So I'm going to get started. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Give me 1 second. I won't see you, so Barrett, you let me know if there's any questions or anything that pop through. Can you see this slide?
You're in.
Perfect. All right. So everybody, I'm Bridget McNamara. My role at Adobe is I'm the Principal Customer Success Manager that works with the University of Alabama. I've gotten the pleasure to work with you all for the last couple of years, supporting the campus as an Adobe Creative Campus. So we'll kind of start there. What does it mean? What does University of Alabama mean being a creative campus? You are, your institution has made an amazing investment in your access to digital literacy and career readiness tools. So that means that all of the students, faculty, and staff have access to Adobe Creative Cloud products. You join an elite group of campuses globally and around the country to do that. So kudos to your campus, kudos for you all to take advantage of an amazing benefit. So that means you have free access. We're going to focus a lot on Express today. So if you have not logged into Adobe Express, definitely hope that that's a takeaway that you go and explore after our session today. Some of the other benefits for your campus are that you have a really awesome group of students that are student ambassadors with Adobe. And I'll leave you more information at the end of the session if you're interested in becoming a student ambassador. You have access to student badging, and those are little micro-credentialing courses. These are all specific to creative campuses, so really amazing benefits that I will also cover in this session because they're going to help you get prepared. You also have an opportunity to engage with Adobe's University Recruiting in a unique way, and you guys are the first group of students to see that this fall, so that'll be a part of this presentation. And then as a campus, you collaborate, your leadership all the way down to students are collaborating with other creative campuses globally, which is creating a really neat network. I will put this presentation in the chat pod at the end, but this link here would take you directly to the Alabama and Adobe kind of landing page. And so I'll just show that here. This is where you can learn a little bit more about what you have access to, how you can get access, and any questions if you have any technical questions for your IT team. So with that, let's get started. I know we're short on time, but that doesn't mean I don't want you guys to feel free to ask questions. I want this to be interactive. I want this is a session all about making sure that you get the right resources. So how can you use Adobe Express to get career ready? We all know that at the end of your time on campus or your students' time on campus, one of the biggest goals for them is to get a job. So how can Adobe and specifically Adobe Express help students to kind of make that next leap and set themselves apart? We really see an opportunity for you to use Express to develop and own your own brand. You probably have a presence, social media presence. You're, ideally sending out job applications, resumes, portfolios out to prospective employers. So it's important for you to start now and control your brand. Tell your story, who you are, what you're looking for, what you want to do, the impact you're making, what you've learned on campus, all of that. You can tell by using Adobe Express and creating kind of that digital narrative that you share out with the world. Ideally, you can use Express to take your resume to the next level and or create a portfolio. So we know that prospective employers aren't just curious about what you look like and what your experience has been on paper. It's a lot more compelling for them to see that visually and for you to be able to share kind of also maybe it's non-work experience, right? So what have you learned in class? What type of experience have you had during your time at the University of Alabama that might make you a better prospective intern or employee, and how do you share that story in a compelling way? There's lots of templates, if you're not familiar, in Adobe Express that will enable you to do that. So we'll touch on that a little bit too. And throughout this, while you're creating all of this content, whether it's for, your professional next step or also just creating it for fun using Adobe Express, you're going to be gaining relevant and applicable digital communication skills that no matter what your, job or your major is in the future, will be really beneficial for you to be able to kind of show off and carry that as a skill in your toolkit. There's opportunities for you to, while you're using Express, to also take these courses so that you can earn a badge and ideally show that off on LinkedIn. So some of the just outputs, and this is more of just inspiration. So we'll look at portfolios, a couple of examples, but some of those outputs that are really easy to do, that fall under kind of, these templates and courses that I'm going to show you are a dynamic resume, a headshot, creating like a 1-minute video or any video that's showcasing any type of your work, social media assets like LinkedIn banners, a logo, and then ultimately these dynamic portfolios that kind of show a compelling brand. So let's get into kind of looking through that. Okay, so how can you own your brand? Let's look at some inspiration. And we do have permission from these students to share. Actually, yeah, let's do that first. So this is a student athlete, Isaiah from Clemson. And so this is something that she built while at Clemson, and is a way that she's been able to show and transfer skills as a student athlete, mix kind of the multimodal. She has, photos, text, experience, and really kind of owns her story and her experience as a leader, as a student, and as a student athlete. And then I can share these with you all as well. And then the next one, just to give a little more inspiration. I'm visual, so I always like to see, like, what do you mean when you're talking about a portfolio or dynamic resume? We're all used to the word templates, right? This does not replace that. Those are necessary and needed. They tell a textual story. This is something that we know from even our own university recruiting team, that adding a portfolio, either a portfolio of work or a branded portfolio, about maybe what you're looking for or your experience on campus, is supplemental and really can set yourselves apart just from a visual perspective as well. So this is also another student. She's from Ohio State, a student athlete. She is used this as kind of her, digital portfolio and resume as she was looking for careers. And I'll have to look it up. I forgot, but she did land a pretty amazing corporate job just this last May, and has shared this with a lot of other students through some of our sessions. So again, kind of adding video, linking out to other assets and other things that she wanted to share, and really kind of owning her brand. So I'll share those with you. Let's get back to, so once you kind of get inspired or you have an idea of, okay, I see the value, I really like to start using Adobe Express, maybe start, with a web page or a portfolio, how do you get started? So what we recommend is, once you get into, this is Express for those of you who have not poked around, there are a lot of ways that you can use it. So we won't really, poke around here too much because we could probably stay in here for hours, but I just wanted to show you kind of some of the basics. So if you start with the plus sign, there's kind of some prompts here of suggested things that you can start to create. So if you wanted to start with let's even start with a, LinkedIn post, it will generate a page for you. It has the size and everything, and you can start to customize here. Taking a step back, a good place to start might be to create your brand. So this is where you can decide, do I want to create a logo? What colors resonate for me? Like if I'm going to have a resume and a headshot and a video, do I want there to be a consistent brand that follows all of that? You can do this for a student club, if you've started a business, a side hustle, anything that you want to brand. You can have multiple brands within Adobe Express. So starting here, then as every asset, every flyer, every digital banner, anything that you create going forward, if you wanted it to fall within your brand guidelines, you'd be able to do that here. And here's just a quick example. This is something that we've created when you click into a brand and you have all of these pieces, logo, set colors, you can select your font, you can create different templates. It's something that you could share. So the sky's the limit. I know we're talking about portfolio and personal branding, but I can imagine that if you're involved in any type of club or athletics or having your own, business, that this is very applicable as well. So if you're not feeling confident or you just really want to have some directed learning, this is the best leave or takeaway you can take from this session. It's this Creating Job Applications Essential course. So I mentioned in the beginning of this, as a creative campus, you have access to our micro-credentialing and badging. So I'm going to click in here. That link goes directly here. But these are these bite-sized courses that can get you started, not only to create, specific outputs or learning outcomes, but will also provide you with a badge that you can put on LinkedIn. So this is the one that I would say get started with. It is the Job Applications Essentials. It takes 1 to 2 hours to create. It'll walk you through exactly what you need to get started. And then by the end of the course, you'll either create a LinkedIn banner or an updated headshot. And that's what you would submit here. Adobe has its own team that assesses that and then provides you with the credential that you can then add it to your LinkedIn banner or your LinkedIn account or your resume, however you want to add that. It's definitely something that you would have earned, and it's an industry standard recognized badge. I know I'm going pretty quick. Do we have any questions or anyone need me to poke into anything further right there? Okay. So I also mentioned, so that was one of the courses that I would suggest you get started with, but there's more. So throughout this process, certainly using Adobe Express to create is one wonderful way to take advantage of the tool and its benefits, but also there are other badges that will enable you to earn or build skills and earn badges. So I just wanted to share these as well. So the Job Application Essentials course, the landing page for that, let's see. I'll just go back here. You can look at all of the different courses. So another course that I want to point out is this, let's see. Oh, there it is at the top right. It's this Intro to Generative AI. So again, it's a skill set that it doesn't matter if you're going into education or a STEM program or humanities. Knowing a little bit about what Gen AI is, how it is kind of changing the landscape and how you can start to develop some skills. This course right here is really exciting. So that platform will enable you to choose depending on what skills you want to learn. They're really, like I said, they're all bite-sized. They take about 1 to 2 hours. They do require you to go through each of the modules and then create an artifact, submit that, and then you earn your badge. So this right here is, you need to watch all the videos, read through the text, and then you submit a final assignment. So great way to get started. Great way to add and set yourself apart from a skills perspective, and is a really neat benefit that the University of Alabama can provide to you. I don't have too much time, but I want to just spread the word about Adobe Firefly. So as we're talking about Gen AI, I want to pop into Adobe Firefly. So Firefly is our AI engine with regards to images. So this is just a really fun tool to play with, again, to really get a good understanding of how to leverage AI, and especially when you're trying to create a visually compelling, resume or portfolio, or want to add images or find something for your brand. This is always a fun way to get started. So if we I'll just do a really quick prompt right here. How about a cartoon elephant walking through, spelling, through a school campus? The magic starts happening. The ability to kind of think of something, put it into words, put it into a prompt, and then see it created in your vision is pretty exciting. So you could sit and play with this forever. You can remix this. You can say, I want it to be a realistic elephant. You can do all sorts of stuff. But if you're not aware that Firefly is available, I think it's a really neat tool, and it's a great way to get started understanding Gen AI. Okay, the last section, and I know we're close on time, right? Is okay. Now, hopefully you've seen the steps of like, how do I get prepared? How can I set myself apart? How can I create some really great content to tell my story, to put on my LinkedIn, to really compel prospective employers to take a second look at me? Now it's going and landing that job. So hopefully these little bite-sized badges will help you no matter what type of major or what type of content you're trying to create. And that your Career Center and Barrett and the group in IT and Adobe all have your back. I encourage you to kind of, poke around and see what other resources are available on campus to help you land that job, and really, set yourself apart. If you are specifically interested in Adobe opportunities, which maybe some of you are here today to learn a little bit more about that, we do have a few ways that you can interact with Adobe Recruiting. So these are two very specific benefits to Creative Campus students, or students who are on a Creative Campus. There is an Adobe University Recruiting kind of general website, which I would encourage you. I'll add it into this page right here. It's not there currently, but if you just do a quick Google search, you'd be able to find tons and tons of information about different programs that we offer, job opportunities, and whatnot. But these two links are specific to students at Creative Campuses. So this first Adobe Express page has a little bit about some of the different roles that Adobe recruits for from an internship and a new grad perspective. So you can click into each one of these to learn a little bit more. And then you can also directly submit your resume to our university recruiting team here. I do want to make sure that this is asterisked, and I want to make sure I'm very clear that submitting your resume directly to them is not in lieu of applying to a particular job. So you'll still want to apply to any internship or grad opportunities that you do find online. Right now is the time that we release them. So I was just with University Recruiting yesterday, and their timeline is a lot of these non-technical roles, like the sales roles and business-oriented roles, are rolling out between now and mid-October. And then a handful of these research and technical roles are also currently out and will continue to roll out over the next handful of weeks. So I would start kind of bookmarking, one of these pages, and learning a little bit more about what those requirements are, the timelines, and sending in as many applications as you would like. You do have to apply for every single specific role. We do have a lot of students who have kind of made the leap from the University of Alabama to Adobe. I know a handful of students who have also started with internships and then moved on to be fully hired over the last couple of years. And we've had some great student ambassadors through that program, and then through your sales program through the business school as well. So that's one really great opportunity if you guys want to explore this webpage. And then lastly, This page, I said it's brand spanking new. We need to make some changes on it. So don't be surprised if you see added text and whatnot. But this is a great way to stay in touch with university recruiting. So students who are part of Creative Campus essentially will be able to submit their application here, right here. If you register now, it's another way to submit your resume, get on kind of a list, if you will, where we're going to be able to interact with you over your time. So if you're a first year, second year, not looking for an internship quite yet, that's fine. Still register. And definitely just is a way for us to stay in touch. And then as we grow our relationship with those students on creative campuses, you will continue to kind of be in that fold. So again, these will all be leave behinds. And then lastly, I just wanted to plug the Student Ambassador Program. So if you're on this call, you want to learn about what it means to become a student ambassador, what those requirements are, what the benefits are. It's a great way to get experience, to get even more exposure to university recruiting, and then also help promote, workshops and be kind of a brand evangelist on campus, all while earning, points towards swag or gift cards or things like that. This is a great way to get involved. The University of Alabama was one of the first campuses where we launched this program. You typically have over 20 to 25 students, and I believe are an official club. Correct me if I'm wrong, Barrett. But it's just a great way to kind of build community, be a part of a community, and gain some awesome experience. So I'll leave that with you guys as well. I'm going to stop sharing. Well, let me grab this page website real fast. And then I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to pop it in the chat pod. And this is a site that you guys are all free to access. You can share it if you have friends that you think, hey, they would love to see this, or other, faculty members or folks in the Career Center. Feel free. It's a resource for you all. It will live in perpetuity, and hopefully will become a really great resource for you to refer back to. So with that said, I don't know if there's any questions or thoughts or